So we're Graide, and in a sentence, we make marking easy. We started as a spin-out from a university when we were postgraduate teaching assistants ourselves, experiencing the pain of marking at scale. And from that, developed a solution that uses artificial intelligence to speed up the time it takes to mark work. It's a system that is completely built in-house, doesn't use generative AI, and is designed to assist people in an assistive workflow, which is really quite unique. We were founded in 2019. I like to say that we were doing this before AI was cool. We were founded because we were postgraduate teaching assistants ourselves. Some of us were lecturers and teachers who had experienced the pain of marking. We were dealing with hundreds of student scripts, marking them every single week, trying to give formative feedback to students. And effectively, we had tried to use automative tools in the past, but they didn't provide the high quality feedback that students require to actually learn. That feedback has to be very specific in the areas that are relevant and then given in a timely manner. And that just wasn't happening. And we recognized that if we used artificial intelligence, we could kind of reduce that workload and give that feedback at scale quickly in a high quality. We service quite a few different industries at the moment. So the primary two are higher education and vocational. Our higher education customers include universities like the University of Birmingham, which are using it site-wide, which is quite interesting, so across multiple different subjects. And in the vocational space, we focus on professional development courses like CIPD, CMI. We're also helping other providers by integrating into existing solutions. A great example of this is Aptem. We have integrated into their apprenticeship platform and are launching that quite soon. We have a pedagogically driven development mindset. So whenever something is occurring in the platform, when we're building something, the value to the student and the value to the teacher is always something we're thinking about. It's not just kind of a frills-based approach. It is very much a value-driven approach to development. We're currently primarily in the UK, but we have expanded internationally into a couple of different pilot universities and companies. So there are a few in the United States and even in Australia and a couple in Malaysia, etc. as well. The system is quite flexible. So at the moment, it does only work in English. We are looking to expand different languages as well. But even within English, it allows it to be used in lots of different levels and geographies. In terms of the future plans, this year we're really focusing on international expansion, growing our existing foothold within the UK, whilst also starting to have a more reasonable presence in the United States. One of the challenges to this is being able to operate in two different time zones and build a company that has the support structure that customers require. But luckily, we've got a plan to sort that all out and make sure that all of our customers have the right amount of support required to use Graide appropriately. I would say the key thing that differentiates Graide from other tools is the fact that it has AI marking. Now, we're living in an economy where AI is everywhere, primarily through generative AI. That's your ChatGPTs, Google Geminis, all that sort of good stuff. Now, AI has been around for a very long time, but it's only recently become quite popular. And there are two types of AI that I really want to identify. The first is classification-based AI. That's using systems to be able to identify what category things fall into. That's like looking into your phone and seeing which person is which in your photos, or maybe like Instagram or Facebook also do a similar thing. But then on the other hand, we have generative AI, creating something completely out of whole cloth. Now, generative AI is incredibly popular and it's incredibly useful. but it has its use cases for which it is good, and it has its use cases for which it is not. For example, creating emails, summarizing long documents, creating images to represent particular areas, etc., of work that you might be doing. It's pretty good at that, and it will save a lot of people's time. When it comes to marking, generative AI is not appropriate. And the primary reason for that is three things. One, it has bias issues. So if you kind of change your language slightly to infer a different sort of socioeconomic class, your output can be dramatically changed. That's not something that you want. It is not consistent. Is by its very nature designed to have some randomness in its output. So if you ask it to grade the same answer twice, there is no guarantee that you'll get the same mark. And the third thing is that it's not explainable. These models have hundreds of billions of parameters, and they're very, very quite complicated, and there's no internal understanding of how these models actually work. Compare that to our system, where it's a classification-based model, which is directly addressed those key issues. So one, it's not biased because it only uses the data that that particular teacher uses to mark that question. There's no third-party data. The second thing is that it is consistent. If you give the same question and answer, it will give the same feedback. And the third thing is it's actually built to be explainable. So we built the entire model under the hood to have that understanding, and we're working on bringing that explainability out to the users so that they can see the underlying working of the system as well. So when you combine that with the ability that we can mark math questions and text-based questions, long form, short form, different levels of education as well, that gives us quite a big competitive advantage. We actually have an internal metric for success, which kind of like a North Star metric. For us, that's the number of questions that have been marked with the platform. The reason that we have this is our goal is to make marking easy. So if we do a good job in that, more people will use the platform, highlights kind of the increased number of customers, etc., that we're going to be getting. And we're also going to have more people use the platform themselves because marking is easy, which means that more students will get formative feedback. So if that number is growing, we're succeeding from a customer success point of view, but we're also succeeding from a commercial point of view. And right now that number is pretty strong. We're hoping to break 1 million questions marked this year pretty soon. We work with the student to make sure that they have all the modalities available to input their types of solutions. So if they have an existing document, they can copy and paste most often their existing content directly into the platform. They can type directly into the platform. But on top of that, if you have a mathematical input, quite often typing mathematical input is quite complicated, but we assist with that framework by allowing for handwriting input as well. So you can directly handwrite into the platform using our kind of whiteboard editor, or you can actually upload a picture and we will convert that handwriting into text for you as well. So it just allows the student to have lots of different ways to submit. I have a vision that we're going to have a really tight-knit ecosystem between generative and classification AI systems. The thing I think which is going to be really huge is the ability to create content in a consumable format for students in a way that they want it to be consumed. So you could have loads of high value sources of information that kind of coalesce and become things that students can consume in video format, audio format, text format, chatbot format, whatever is useful to them. And you go from a paradigm where you go into a classroom to be taught to one where you go into a classroom to kind of follow up on what you've kind of already consumed a little bit. Then when assessments are taken and students get those marked, you can use an AI system, probably ours, to mark that question, get high quality feedback. But because that feedback is kind of digital, you can use that information to create a really nice feedback loop, to use the content and the feedback together to create a bespoke question that identifies the issues and helps address them for that bespoke learning journey for that individual. So every single student could, in principle, have a really bespoke learning journey, and that would be really huge. Winning this award is huge. It's recognized both nationally and internationally. And one thing as a relatively new startup is that recognition helps codify our offering and allows new people to understand what we do and how valuable it actually is. And that means a lot to us.